What is up, everyone? This is D to the T, and we'll be playing some Heroes of the Storm Alpha today. We'll be looking at Zagara, Broodmother Swarm. She is from StarCraft 2. We'll be looking at her talents, abilities, and a couple of skins, and probably do a playthrough with some quick tips for her. She is a mid-range support. I think they're calling it specialist in this game. Her Q ability is a Baneling Barrage. She fires about 5 Banelings, I believe. It goes about the length of the screen, which we'll be demonstrating here in a moment. Her W ability is a Hunter Killer, basically unleashes a Hydralisk on the enemy and chase him down until that enemy dies, or until I believe 5 seconds is up. Her E ability is Infested Drop. It'll do initial damage when it hits, initial splash damage I should say, when it hits the ground, and it spawns 2 Roachlins. Her trait is actually probably the strongest trait about her, I guess you'd say, about the hero. She can spawn creep tumors, which is kind of cool. She can have up to 3 at a time. They give you map vision, really cool. Probably the best feature of her, actually. Her 2 heroic abilities is Devouring Maw, which is a stun, a short range AoE kind of stun after about a second or so. Give you a good example of what that looks like, and a Nidus network, which is exactly as you'd probably expect it to be if you've ever played StarCraft 2. On the skin side of things, this is her default skin, the skin that everyone will be playing with. Her brown skin is, if you level her up, I believe to level 5, you unlock the brown skin. Green skin is, I believe, level 7. I might be off on the levels. It might be 6 and 7, actually, come to think about it. Her hero, the ultimate skin of her, is this with all the spikes and the weird helm thing. Pretty awesome, I think. Default is purple. Again, the leveled up is red, which I think looks absolutely amazing. And then finally teal. The $7, you can buy this, you can't buy this one with gold, you can buy it with $7. You get green, this, I guess, another teal, which kind of looks like a sand scorpion type thing, and a green, I guess a green scorpion of some sort. That looks cool. I like this one. A little bit neonish. I like the outlines of it. I'm not going to go all the way through the talents just because, you know, the talents change quite often in alpha. But right now, it looks like the devs are trying to build her into having 2 unique kind of paths for talents. Basically, you can be a split pusher, I guess you'd say, with a Nidus network and Banelings. So it'd be kind of like a Baneling build. You pick all the talents that buff up your Banelings, do extra damage to towers, etc. Or you can go more of a group fight, soloing type build, which is the talent choices that most people actually pick up, and that's the one we'll be using today. So let's just go into the game and play around with her. We're going into a like a trial area which Blizzard has kind of created for people just to try out heroes, just to see skins, see how they play in game before you buy it. Alright, so before we start spawning some minions, let's just go out into the field. So this is, in case you've never seen this before, this is a lane in Heroes of the Storm. This little guy right here, this will refill your HP. If you click on it, it has a 60-second cooldown. This is one of the towers. Each lane has a wall with this gate here in the center, which enemies cannot pass through. All of these guys do have HP, and of course these 2 are turrets up at the top. In the game, there's bushes. Here's the grass. You can see you're stealthed by having the stealth icon right above your character. Across the bottom, you have your different abilities. So your Q ability, we'll be looking at it. It's the Baneling Barrage. You can see it goes about across the screen. It's a directional skill shot, and it'll fire roughly about screen length from the center. And you can actually talent this into going pretty far. You can, with talents, you could probably hit this tower right here if you wanted to. Actually, with the centrifugal hooks talent, specifically. The W is the Hunter Killer. I can't cast it right now without any minions. And the E is the Infested Drop. You can see this has a much larger range. You can drop it. It hits, does some splash damage, and spawns 2 Roachlins that have quite a bit of HP. They're great for tanking. They do a little bit of damage, not quite as much as the Hunter Killer, but it is, you can drop all three of them at the same time, and it is quite a bit of damage. Her talent, as I was saying before, is probably the most unique and special ability of her. They're essentially totems. You can drop it. After 3 seconds, you can drop another one, and you can see the creep is slowly spreading. It gives you map vision. So, for example, this little area right here that I'm inside of, I can see on my minimap. Now if I walk way over here, you can still see that I can see inside that vision. What's kind of interesting is that I can actually see through the grass right here. So if a villain, what am I talking about? If a opposing hero actually comes and tries to hide in the bushes and try and gank me, I will see him on my mini-map, which is pretty neat. I like that. Generally, whenever I start a game, I'll drop creep tumors, in the grass up top, and just every 3 seconds, it's good to get into a habit of dropping creep tumors. The tumors themselves can be destroyed, which will destroy the creep. They are invisible to the opposing players, but they can be hit by AoE. Generally, I try and keep the creep tumors off this main pathway where minions will be, because almost everything in this game is an AoE, and creep tumors will just be destroyed inadvertently. So I usually try and keep them off the main beaten path, in grass, outside the normal range. One of the other nice things about creep is, just like in StarCraft, it gives you the vision, but also it actually gives you a little bit of speed boost. So you can see I'm walking a little bit slower here. As soon as I get onto creep, I'm going 20% faster. There's also, I think you get double HP regen on creep also. So it's just generally good to have. If you're pushing a lane, you want to have as much creep as you can. It protects you against ganks. It increases your speed, keeps your minions' health up, the whole 9 yards. It's one of the best traits in the game, I'd say, outside of maybe Rhaegar's. But we'll talk about that another time. So let's go ahead and level all the way up, go up to level 20, and then we'll go through the talents selection for this group build, which I'd probably say is probably the strongest build of hers, probably by a large margin, actually. Alright. First talent's going to be Ventral Sacs, dropping 3 roaches, great for pushing towers. Let's just walk over here. Let's go all the way over to the opposing team's towers. You can see they'll be attacking me normally. I can drop the roaches. Whoopsies. Why can't I drop roaches? Oh, there we go. I can drop roaches, and the towers will actually attack the roaches first, just like a normal minion, and they can take quite a beating, especially even at level 1. So having 3 roaches is pretty awesome. Can tank well into late game. For your tier 4, I like to pick up Envenom Spines. You have another chance. You could probably pick up Envenom, which will give you a new ability on your hotbar. 60-second cooldown. It does a lot of damage, but overall, I think the Envenom Spines, your range is really short as Zagara, so increasing your range, being able to hit a hero or someone from the bushes, get a kill shot, stuff like that is really important. I've just found more use with that particular ability. You can even kite somewhat on creep, as long as you stay on creep. For your tier 7, I usually go with Rapid Incubation. You can go with Battle Momentum, but I've had mana problems. I know a lot of people like to run Battle Momentum, just because Zagara is quite a ability usage hog, I guess you'd kind of say. She usually spams her abilities, especially creep tumors. And you want to have any engagement you come across, you want to use just about all of your abilities and to burst someone down. But personally, I like to go with Rapid Incubation. A lot of times you'll be stuck in a lane by yourself, 1v1, 1v2, sometimes even 1v3 if you are lucky with creep tumors and can play defensively. And it's nice to not have to either go back to the shrine, get your HP back, or hearth back to the starting area to get your HP back, and just be able to use Rapid Incubation just to stay in that lane, soak up the XP, and not have to acquiesce the lane to the opposing team, I guess you'd say. Also, rapid incubation. I mean, 25% of your HP and mana. The mana is a big portion of this talent. Also, over 3 seconds on a 45-second cooldown is I'd say it's almost borderline OP. It's really strong. For your heroic abilities, you get that at level 10. You have Devouring Maw and Nidus Network. Because we're playing pretty much a team fight Zagara, I usually go with Devouring Maw. This is more map specific. Kind of depends if you're on a big map where lane pushing is kind of more of a thing. You can go Nidus Network. It's okay, but generally I like to go Devouring Maw. Here's the Storm's more of a team fighting game. You end up with lots of team fights, lots of objectives. It's an objective-based game. That's what I'm trying to say. Objective-based game that forces team fights. So you want to have as much team fight potential as possible. Devouring Maw is really good for stunning the other team, taking people out of the fight, or splitting a team up, like cutting them in half and having your team able to take out one or two is just really big during a team fight. For level 13, you have two choices here. You can either go Mutalisks or Group Spines. Mutalisks will spawn a Mutalisk instead of a Hydralisk, and they'll chase the enemy down over land, over grass, over other minions, etc. Personally, I like Group Spines. A lot of times, again, in team fights, the Hydralisks just kind of get lost in all of the chaos that's going on, especially if it's not a hero that's attacking people. You see this a lot with Gazla whenever he drops a turret. The turrets will solo people, and they won't even notice what's going on. And if you can get your Hydralisk doing extra damage and extra range, then all the better, right? So I've found better luck with Groove Spines. Some people like to go Giant Killer, but Zagara you don't usually attack with Zagara, and she attacks so slowly that you're never going to get the damage bonus really out of her. So I suggest Groove Spines on this one. For your tier 16, we'll be looking at Brute Expansion. I mean, there's nothing better on this tier than, this is one of the best talents for Zagara. 2 Hydralisks you can drop at the same time. You'll see, right now I can just drop 1 every 14 seconds. As soon as I pick up that, now I can drop 2. And it's going to be really strong. You'll see me burst down this opposing hero here in a sec. For level 20, Tyrant Maw is okay. The damage really isn't there. It's pretty nice whenever you do kill a hero and you get to use 2 in one team fight, but for the most part, Bolts of the Storm will keep you alive, especially in late game. One of the things about late game heroes of the Storm is once the amount of time that you're dead for is based on your level of your current level. So at level 20, I think it's like 60 seconds that you're out of the game for. So Bolt of the Storm is really great for if a Zeratal pops up behind you and starts killing you and you don't see it, or basically you're trying to jump back either onto creep so you can run away, or jump back into the middle of your team. Maybe you're in the back throwing some banelings or something like that. All of a sudden, Nova appears from behind you. You need to literally blink into your team, or blink into the bushes to save yourself, so you can use rapid incubation. It's just overall a great talent. And there's really nothing else on that tier that's worth it. Fury of the Storm, at that point, who really cares if you're chaining to enemies, especially with Zagara's damage? You're mainly focusing on your minions to do damage for you. So let's go ahead and talk about the minions on and see some of these abilities in action. We have little Malfurion coming over here, and again, when the game starts, I like to drop it in grass, or at least on the outsides of the match. Go in, get some damage in, and let's see if we can take out this Arthas by popping. See, there's my 2 Hydralisks. You can see the amount of damage that all 3 of us are doing to him pretty quickly. He's going to drop just about out of nowhere. Oh, there he goes. He used some of his healing abilities. That's neither here nor there. We're going to drop our roaches on him. See, there's that damage, and he's going to die. One last ability to look at is the Devouring Maw. Whenever he comes back, we will use Devouring Maw on him and show you what that looks like. Alright, so let's say this is a team fight, and he has a team behind him. We can actually use Devouring Maw, pick him up, take him out of the game for a couple seconds, do a little band damage, and then maybe line up a stun or allow us to get away. That's one of the things I actually like to use is if Arthas is chasing me, then I can actually use Devouring Maul about where I'm standing and kite him into it, or at least he has to run around it. This will give you a little bit of space in the way. Anyway, that's pretty much Zagara in a nutshell. I'll upload some playtest games with her, and yeah, right now she's probably my favorite hero. Most versatility, I'd say. I like the fact that you can actually solo other heroes, even assassins, pretty well as her. She's fairly tanky and has quite a bit of burst with this particular build. Let's see if we can kill Arthas one last time. Yeah, but I guess I should have dropped actually on him since he was running away. But you get the idea. So, all right. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this real quick first look of Zagara, and see you next time.